I just have a really good time. My creative process is really about musicians. I love working with musicians so much because I feel like they understand. If I have any ideas for changes, they can actually, do them. So I really appreciate everyone who's been training in their music and their craft and developing, their ear and all their skills. So I love that.
Victoria Monet McCants was born in Georgia in 1989. She was born to an American mother and a French father. When her parents divorced, Victoria moved from Georgia to Sacramento to live with her grandmother. The divorce put a financial strain on the family, and her mother worked 3 jobs to support them. Throughout Victoria's childhood, she was heavily involved in the performing arts as part of both a dance team and her church's youth choir. When she was younger, Victoria actually attended Catholic school and took part in school plays. Eventually, she convinced her mother to allow her to attend Sheldon High School, and she enrolled in their performing arts program. It was Victoria's love of poetry that would influence her career and change her life. Her love of poetry led her to write her own music and inspired her to want to become a performer. Victoria sought out connections that could help her make her dream of becoming a performer come true. She contacted Rodney Jerkins through MySpace in hopes he could help with her career. Rodney Jerkins, better known as Darkchild, is a producer, rapper, and writer responsible for some of the biggest hits in pop and R&B. Darkchild has produced hits like Destiny Child's Say My Name, Janet Jackson's Feedback, and Telephone, one of the collaborations between Beyoncé and Lady Gaga. Jerkins invited Victoria Monet to audition for his new girl group Purple Rain. Victoria impressed him, and she went to LA to begin her career as one-third of Purple Rain. Purple Rain secured a record deal with Motown and recorded 21 songs for their debut album, but were dropped from Motown before releasing any music with them. The only music Purple Rain released was a mixtape. Their covers of Destiny's Child songs still exist online. It makes you wonder whether Darkchild wanted to recreate the girl group trio vibe of Destiny's Child for the new decade, but I guess we'll never know how it would have turned out. With her group disbanded, Victoria found herself jobless and disheartened. She said, "I was heartbroken and I was struggling. Leaving your families to do this big venture, everyone's so proud. It's like, oh, you're gonna sign with Motown, it has to work. With such a great producer who has so much experience, there's no reason why it shouldn't. It was a gray area of not knowing what's next, but fighting to make things happen for me." Determined to make it in the industry, Victoria looked for work so that she wouldn't have to leave LA. From her short-lived time with Purple Rain, Victoria had made connections that would help her career. She had met the producer D-Mile, who at the time was working with Janet Jackson and Dirty Money. D-Mile was also working with Tommy Brown, a songwriter for Ariana Grande, both of whom Victoria would collaborate with in the future. In the beginning, Victoria focused on songwriting and mainly wrote song hooks. She often sang them herself and hoped the demos would be impressive enough for her to earn a feature on the track. Victoria sang her hooks on a couple rap songs, including ones for Nas and T.I. In 2010, Victoria wrote a song for Diddy Dirty Money's album, which was her first big break. Craig Kallman, the CEO of Atlantic Records, eventually offered Victoria a recording deal. However, Victoria was seeing more success as a songwriter than a singer at the time, so she continued to focus on writing. In 2013, Victoria began her working relationship with Ariana Grande, which has spanned across all 6 of Ariana's albums. Victoria wrote 2 singles on Yours Truly, Daydreamin' and Honeymoon Avenue. This was also the beginning of Ariana and Victoria's friendship. Though they'd met before the album, working on it brought them closer together. While working on Yours Truly, Victoria spent a lot of time with Ariana's friends and family. The following year, she returned to write for Ariana's sophomore album, My Everything. This is a weird time in Ariana's discography because while the album was a massive success and solidified Ari as a pop it girl, a lot of the reviews weren't as positive as one would imagine. Victoria wrote 4 songs on the album: the intro, Only One, Cadillac Song, and the title track, My Everything. Because My Everything has a lot of pop tracks on it like Break Free, Bang Bang, and One Last Time, Victoria's songs on the album are clear to spot. Her lyrics are always more introspective, emotional, and story-like. To me, the songs Victoria contributed to are honestly the ones that sound most similar to Ariana's current sound, which makes sense because Victoria still works with her to this day. None of the songs Victoria wrote for My Everything were released as singles, but it makes sense because of the aforementioned pop heavy hitters that are on the album. Some of the slower, more emotional ballads on the album were praised for their lyrical content. On the other hand, multiple reviews of My Everything said the songs lacked personality and that aside from Ariana's vocals, not much about them stood out. Reviews called the songs on My Everything faceless and said that they rang hollow. It's unclear whether any of the songs in question were written by Victoria, but it does point to the fact that many felt like Ariana hadn't yet found a distinct sound. In this era, Ariana was doing EDM pop, R&B, old Hollywood, and hip-hop inspired music all at the same time. While the consensus was that Ariana was definitely vocally talented, it also seemed clear her albums would benefit from more cohesion and the development of a clear sound. Regardless, My Everything went number 1 on the Billboard charts, and it was nominated for a Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Album. In 2014, Victoria released her first EP, Nightmares and Lullabies Act One. She released the EP independently under Victoria Monet Music and Atlantic Records. A review of the EP stated, "The project features heavy-hitting tracks backed by Victoria's angelic vocals and edgy lyrics to create a fresh, unique sound. The songs on the EP are upbeat and bass-heavy. Though they have an R&B sound, they're clearly rooted in that EDM hip-hop blend that was everywhere in 2014. Tommy Brown, who is now her boyfriend, handled the EP's production and co-wrote some of the songs. Victoria's vocals are delicate and airy, yet forceful. Sometimes her voice sounds like a powerful whisper, but it never sounds underwhelming. A lot of the lyrics are rather straightforward and devoid of too much emotion. I will say that Made in China is the exception. The lyrics are creative and full of figurative language and double entendres. Made in China sounds like something Victoria would still release today, and to me it sounds the most like her off of the EP. To me, in my opinion, the Ty Dolla $ign feature was completely unnecessary and it doesn't add much to the song. 2015 was a big year for Victoria Monet. In January, Fifth Harmony released their debut album, Reflection. Victoria wrote 4 songs on the album, Them Girls Be Like, Everlasting Love, We Know, and the title track, Reflection. The lyrics heavily centered around female independence and friendship. Overall, the lyrics were praised. Pitchfork called it an album of fun feminist pop and said it has sharp, nuanced perspectives. Reflection debuted at number 5 on the Hot 200. That summer, Victoria Monet collaborated with Machine Gun Kelly on A Little More, a song from his album General Admission. She both wrote and sang the hook. The song is about persevering through life in a suffering world. It's a heartfelt song, but I don't know, it kind of gives Same Love by Macklemore vibes to me. The song isn't bad, it just sounds kind of gimmicky, especially on an album where MGK is also talking about starting bar fights, sleeping around, and doing substances. Soon after that, Victoria released the second part to her EP, Nightmares and Lullabies Act 2. It still has the same electronic R&B sound as Act 1, but it sounds more focused this time. The lyrics also seem to be specifically about someone this time, or at least they have the emotion behind them to make them feel like they are. On this EP is where I think Victoria and Ariana's sounds begin to mirror one another. I don't think one is copying the other, but the fact that Victoria works so closely with Tommy and Ariana is probably the cause of it. The song on the EP that sounds most similar to Ariana's music to me is Cupid. You can easily imagine Ariana Grande singing those lyrics, as many of the lyrics we associate with Ariana were written by Victoria. That winter, Victoria and Tommy collaborated on Ariana's Christmas album, Christmas and Chill. I do not like Christmas music, but I play this album every winter because it's just that good. Christmas and Chill, of course, was a play on the then popular term Netflix and chill, and like its title implies, the album has a very cozy yet romantic vibe. It was an R&B album infused with Christmas music, making it come off as a fresh take on the genre. I think the most Victoria Monet-esque song on this album is With It This Christmas. Ariana's vocals are similar in style to hers, singing in that airy yet confident and playful tone. The song is full of Christmas-themed tongue-in-cheek metaphors. This is a staple of Victoria's songwriting, and it always gives the song a tone that's more flirty than vulgar. December is also a good one. That Merry Christmas Here I Am Boy hook is suggestive, creative, and holiday-themed all in one. Not Just on Christmas sounds like a page out of Victoria's books with the angelic vocals, chimes, and string instruments. The song has that hazy, hypnotizing lullaby sound that a lot of Victoria's songs have. Even though it's a Christmas album, I think Christmas and Chill is an important work in Ariana's discography. It's her first album where the entire thing has one consistent sound. Christmas and Chill gives us that first glimpse of the symphonic R&B that will become Ariana's signature sound. The lyrics also capture that coquettish vibe that Ariana has, where she flirts expertly with her wordplay and euphemisms. It's not by mistake that the entire album was written by Victoria, Tommy, and Ariana. With this album, they've just crafted the winning formula that will be Ariana's bread and butter for years to come. Victoria collaborated with Ariana again on her third album, Dangerous Woman. Dangerous Woman was Ariana's announcement to the world that she was officially shedding her Nickelodeon image. In her previous eras, she teetered on the line between child actor and pop star. With Dangerous Woman, Ariana took on a sexier, more mature persona. Victoria has writing credits on about half of the album. She wrote Let Me Love You, Leave You Lonely, Moonlight, Be Alright, I Don't Care, Step On Up, and Knew Better, Forever Boy. Overall, the album is mainly pop and R&B. It doesn't sound like Christmas and chill to me, and it isn't in keeping with the Ariana Grande sound that she becomes popular for later. However, I do think it's worth mentioning that Ariana aligns herself more to the hip-hop sound in this album, which she does keep for her later albums, especially Thank You Next. None of the songs Victoria wrote for the album were used as singles. Moonlight is a notable mention though, because it has those beautiful strings and retro vibe that's typical of a song that Victoria Monet touched. It's clear that Victoria shines best when she's writing a love song. She can capture perfectly the feelings of young love, but she writes about them in a way that makes them feel more cinematic and compelling than childish. Tommy Brown also worked on the song. Moonlight was initially intended to be the title track of the album before Dangerous Woman became the main concept. Ariana expressed excitement about Moonlight and has said that it's one of her favorite songs she's ever recorded. While talking about Moonlight in an interview, Ariana revealed a little bit about her songwriting process with Victoria. She said she sent Victoria a voice note about all the ideas and emotions she wanted to include on Moonlight, and Victoria created lyrics that came off like a diary entry.
Like Moonlight, when that song happened, I was sort of just like, Victoria, oh my god, I sent her a voice note. I still have the voice notes. I was like, Victoria, oh my god, you're never gonna guess what happened, blah, 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 and I have to tell you so many things, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, please call me back, blah, blah, blah. And I told her about this like cute night and all these things that were happening. I was like, I have to write a song about this. And I wrote I wrote a long note, basically, of everything I wanted to like say in the song. And like I sent it to Victoria, and she was like, let's pursue this right now.
Overall, Dangerous Woman was met with positive reviews. I do enjoy this album, but my only critique of it is that it kind of sounds all over the place. All of the songs are good, but the album isn't necessarily cohesive. Dangerous Woman was named by multiple publications as one of 2016's best albums. It was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album at the Grammys and won 2 Japan Golden Disc Awards. Victoria was Ariana's opening act for her 2017 Dangerous Woman tour. Aside from working with Ariana, Victoria also wrote a song for Fifth Harmony's second album, 727. She was also an opening act on their 727 tour. Early in 2018, Victoria released her third EP, Life After Love Part 1. She released this EP independently as well. I really love when you listen to a songwriter's own music and you can tell where the artist they've written for got the vibe for a particular song. One of the songs on the album, Wish I Never Met You, has this rock and R&B feel, and it's easy to picture as a Fifth Harmony song. I'm still glad Victoria kept it for herself though, but it's cool to see that she has a lot of influence over the artists that she writes for. This is likely because aside from writing, she usually has a hand in composing the songs she writes and coming up with the melodies for them. Next Thing is another favorite off the EP, and it sounds like the sort of music that Victoria later contributed to Ariana's most recent 3 albums. Overall, the EP still has the dark pop vibes of her previous 2 EPs, but the songwriting on this one to me is a lot stronger. In songs like Waterfall Out of Love, Victoria's lyrics and vocals show the true pain and heartbreak. The lyrics are about a crumbling relationship, but Victoria still saves room for the wordplay and metaphors that make her lyrics work so well. Even the title, Waterfall Out of Love, references crying, heartbreak, and the end of a relationship all at once. That same year, Victoria also helped write Goodnight N Go, as well as Pete Davidson for Ariana's 4th album, Sweetener. Both are love songs that perfectly capture the butterflies in the stomach feeling of a new love. Goodnight N Go is one of my favorite songs on Sweetener, and the lyrics are a big reason. The lyrics are written in a more prose-like style, and it makes it seem more like the events are happening as the song unfolds. It creates a feeling of being in the song and feeling the excitement about even the more mundane parts of a relationship, rather than being on the outside and experiencing it as an observer as we usually do with music. Sweetener to me is the return of the symphonic R&B sound that I brought up when talking about Christmas and chill. It makes the mushy love songs still have a bit of an edge to them. The sound blends Ariana's hip-hop and 50s and 60s influences into a consistent sound where a trap beat and string instruments make perfect sense on the same track. According to an interview Victoria Monet did with the Gay Times a couple of years after the fact, 2018 was a tumultuous year for her personal life. Over the summer, she and her boyfriend, who we can assume is Tommy Brown, went through a breakup. Victoria publicly announced the breakup months later via Twitter, and in the same tweet also came out as bisexual, tweeting, "I secretly and respectfully went through a difficult breakup this summer, but enough is enough. I also like girls. Thank you next, bye." Via Twitter, Victoria also alluded to a new relationship that she was in with a mystery woman. Based on the information given in the interview, such as the relationship ending due to a pregnancy, the internet pieced the timeline together and realized Victoria was most likely talking about Kehlani. If you want to hear more about their relationship, feel free to check out my video on it. In September, Victoria released Life After Love Part 2. This album has a more healed and self-confident tone than Part 1. This makes sense because this is a post-breakup album happening in real time. Though Victoria sounds optimistic, she still maintains that fondness and nostalgia for a past relationship that can only come through fully processing it, which it seems that she used her music to do. When You Say You Love Me is a standout for me because it gives us 80s vibes and has that eclectic sound that Victoria would really develop in the coming years. That fall was also a big time for Victoria because she released one of her biggest songs, Thank You Next. Thank You Next was the lead single and title track off Ariana Grande's 5th studio album. Victoria wrote the song with Ariana Grande and Tayla Parks, another singer-songwriter and longtime collaborator. Thank You Next was both a breakup album and a documentation of Ariana's high-profile relationships over the past couple years. Victoria Monet was in the 2000s chick flick-inspired video, playing a Clover's cheerleader in a direct reference to Bring It On. She also performed the song with Ariana on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, singing backup vocals with Tayla Parks. Thank You Next peaked at number 1 on the Hot 100 and remained there for 7 weeks. It was Ariana's first number 1 single and remains one of her most popular songs. 2019 was another important year for Victoria. Slowly, she'd built up her reputation as a consistent yet creative songwriter, and this is the year that it feels like she really began to get her flowers. Her longtime collaborations with Ariana had paid off, and she'd gone from writing B-sides for her albums to title tracks. Thank You Next was just the beginning. Victoria teamed up again with Parks, Grande, and Brown for 7 Rings, the next single from Thank You Next. 7 Rings is a friendship anthem inspired by the time Ariana bought 7 matching Tiffany rings for herself and her close friends. Victoria Monet appears in the music video with Ariana. 7 Rings also went number 1 and remained at that spot for 8 weeks. 7 Rings was nominated for 2 Grammys, Record of the Year, and Best Pop Solo Performance. All 12 songs on Thank You Next charted on the Hot 100, and the album was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album and Album of the Year. On Thank You Next, Victoria also has writing credits on Needy, NASA, Makeup, and Ghostin'. To me, Ghostin' sounds most like the sort of music Victoria makes for herself. The collaboration on Thank You Next definitely paid off, and you can tell the album was written by the people who know Ariana best. The lyrics are heartfelt and vulnerable, yet still relatable.
Well, yeah, because I don't think life has ever been as bad as it was when we right? Yeah. As my best friend who knows everything, I'm like looking to her, I'm like, has it ever been that bad? She's like, nah.
No.
Ariana has spoken highly of Victoria as both a songwriter and a friend, saying, "Victoria is a brilliant collaborator, musician, and writer, and just as brilliant of a friend. She's a very pure person, and I think that's why we connect the way that we do. It's so rare to meet people in the industry that haven't been tainted by it in some way or developed some kind of crazy ego. She's a timeless writer and vocalist, and I think one of the nicest people I know and truly deserves the world. I'm so proud of the work we've done together and so excited to watch her grow as an artist." In turn, Victoria has said that writing for Ariana is the closest she can get to writing for herself. In a Billboard interview, Victoria opened up more about the songwriting process with Ariana. Victoria often came up with the melodies before the lyrics were written. They would then take the specific experience and emotions Ariana wanted to capture and turn it into a song. She said the studio sessions could be long, but they were often filled with laughter, crying, and drinks. If you're familiar with the song Monopoly, that probably reminds you of the lyric, "Remember when we made a effing album off that Clico?" Monopoly is such a fun song, and it shows the closeness between Ariana and Victoria. Though it's short, the two of them make multiple references to their friendship and how it's the foundation of their success. The music video also gives the same homemade, carefree vibes as the same type of videos we make with our friends at slumber parties. After the success of Thank You Next, Victoria took some time to herself to work on her next album, Jaguar.
It was always there I feel like songwriting just became more successful first. But now I'm just here to even the playing field and be on those stages because I do love performing.
At the end of 2019, she released the album's lead single, Ass Like That. The song was produced by D. Mile, the producer who had helped Victoria's career take off nearly a decade ago. They had worked together previously on her first EP, but it had been years since. From the costuming to the color palette and the grainy sort of visuals, the music video has the perfect 70s retro vibe to it. Victoria said the song is meant to be a body-positive anthem, and she wanted to appreciate her body in a way that came from a place of love rather than objectification. 2020 was another busy year for Victoria. In February, she released Moment, the second single from Jaguar. Moment is sexy and sensual. However, Victoria manages to make it sound less rated R by making smart yet suggestive innuendos like "land it like a plane on my back if you can't hold it." The song is intimate and alluring, and the vibe reminds me of those R&B songs of yesteryear that our parents probably shouldn't have let us listen to as little kids. Victoria released Jaguar that summer. The entire album has the same eclectic retro vibe as the singles. Victoria said Jaguar is inspired by the 70s music her grandparents introduced her to. The visuals are full of browns, golds, and sepia tones that serve the dual purpose of nostalgia and self-love. I don't think the brown tones are a coincidence, as they're reminiscent of Jaguar's, a 70s color palette, and celebrate and emphasize Victoria's own skin tone. Victoria said Jaguar was a story of strength and perseverance, and she sounds empowered and self-assured throughout. The title track is fun, and the disco and funk inspiration is clear as day. Experience, her collaboration with Khalid, is also disco-heavy. Jaguar is a cohesive yet innovative body of work. Her influences are clear, but it doesn't at all sound like Victoria was just jumping on the 70s and 80s revival trend that was huge at the time and kind of still is. After all, Victoria's been using this retro sound for years, both for herself and the artists that she's worked with. Pitchfork called Jaguar a sleek cocoon of funk-tinged R&B. Jaguar is the type of album that makes you want to reach for a cigarette after listening to it. Throughout the album, Victoria oozes confidence and control. This is my favorite project of Victoria's, and if you haven't heard Jaguar, I highly recommend that you take a listen. After the album's release, Victoria put out a remix of Touch Me, and Kalani featured on it. It seems that whatever happened between them was in the past and that they were now on good terms. The two sang about a steamy car romance, and Victoria seemed to subtly confirm rumors that they had a fling in the past. About the song, she said, "As artists, it's special when we let the music document the details of real experiences, and that's what Touch Me does. I think it's beautiful for so many reasons, and I hope people can find their own reasons with every listen." Victoria also tweeted at Kalani, "It feels so nice to finally have music with you and not just about you, LMAO." That same year, Victoria also co-wrote Do It with Chloe and Halle. Y'all know I love Ungodly Hour, and I had no idea that Victoria worked on this song. Do It was Chloe and Halle's first entry on the Hot 100, and it was nominated for a Grammy for Best R&B Song. Like her collaborator Tayla Parks, Victoria dabbled into K-pop. She co-wrote Ice Cream, a collaboration between Blackpink and Selena Gomez. Selena and Ariana also have writing credits on the song, as well as Tommy Brown and Becca Boom, who has written multiple other Blackpink songs. Throughout the songs, the girls compare their lovers' attractiveness in their own to ice cream and multiple other sweet treats. Ice Cream is a perfect summer pop song, but still has a trap beat which fits Blackpink's girl crush concept, as well as the type of music that Brown, Grande, and Monet make together. It was Blackpink's first Western collab, and Blackpink's team worked well with Selena, as well as with Ariana's team. Ice Cream peaked at number 13 on the Hot 100 and was nominated for a People's Choice Award and a VMA. I still don't get why people hated this song, because to me it's peak bubblegum pop and it's just a cute song that doesn't take itself too seriously. Victoria returned to collaborate with Ariana on her most recent album, Positions. She collaborated with Tayla Parks on some of the songs like 34+35, Test Drive, Love Language, and My Hair. Victoria also has credits on Nasty, Westside, and Motive. Positions is full of the symphonic R&B and angelic vocals over trap beats that have typified Ariana's music. Positions is her most cohesive album, and Ariana's sound is at its most refined here. The melodies in Nasty and Westside have Victoria written all over them. Love Language has a very similar 70s sound to Jaguar, and it would be easy to imagine this song on the album. Though Love Language is undoubtedly sexy, Ariana's sweet vocals and Victoria's masterful double entendres keep the song from being too graphic. Like her friend, Ariana also gave us retro visuals for this album. Positions 2 was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album. For the holiday season, Victoria released a Jaguar Christmas, the orchestral arrangements. As the title implies, the album consists of orchestral instrumentals of some of the songs on Jaguar, curated by Victoria herself. Though they evoke a holiday mood, the album would properly suit any time of year. One thing about Victoria Monet, she knows how to do a Christmas album. In February of 2021, Victoria welcomed her daughter Hazel with her partner John Gaines. She shares a lot of pictures and videos of them on her social media, and they honestly make a cute little family. That year, she also released Coastin', which she wrote and produced. The song is a single off of her upcoming album Jaguar Part 2. From the 2 singles she's released, the album appears that it's going to have a similar retro aesthetic to Part 1. Victoria has already confirmed that Jaguar will be a trilogy, which is great because I could honestly listen to 100 parts of Jaguar. Hopefully Jaguar Part 2 is coming soon because Victoria has already given us the track list for it. I hope Victoria becomes a big singer in her own right, but she seems happier in the R&B lane than the pop lane. She's such a fun artist to listen to because you can hear her sound grow over time. Looking back on her music, you can really see her evolving with the hindsight of knowing what her song eventually will come to be. The more familiar you become with Victoria's music, the easier and more exciting it is to spot her influence on other artists' music. Victoria's relationship with Ariana is unique because you can tell how integral Victoria has been to Ariana's musical evolution. Unlike Tayla, Victoria seems to have a direct influence on Ariana's sound, and as I've pointed out, a lot of their songs sound similar. I think it's a combination of them being good friends, Victoria writing and composing for her, and them both working with Tommy Brown. Musically, they're growing in similar directions and feed off of each other well. Still, Victoria's music has a unique, nostalgic touch to it. It also has less of a hip-hop influence than Ariana's music. I think it just speaks to Victoria's genius that she's able to work with Ariana, and though they have a similar sound, when Victoria does her own projects, they still sound distinct. I hope Victoria continues to manage her collaborations with Ari as well as her own singing career because they both show the sides to her genius as a songwriter, composer, and singer. Side note, I wonder if Victoria is helping Normani work on her album. She and Normani were in the studio together back in 2018, but they didn't confirm if it was for Normani's long-awaited debut. It would make sense because they're friends and she's written for Normani in the past when she was in Fifth Harmony. Tayla Parks is also working on Normani's album and she's written for Fifth Harmony too. If you liked this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm so glad you guys asked for this one because I love Victoria Monet's music. She's one of my favorite R&B artists and I've been listening to her for a while, so it was fun to re-listen to her music and actually get to talk about it. I hope this video inspires you to check out her music because you'll love it. I also think it helps add another layer of appreciation to Ariana's music, so please, please, please check Victoria Monet out. As always, please let me know what you'd love to see from me next, and I will see you in my next one. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching as always. Bye!